Do you ever find yourself in a situation where you have the perfect sample, but then find yourself spending hours trying to look for other samples that might work well with it together? Or maybe you want a quick way to find samples that work well together so you can get right into composing or arranging a track right away. Well, Loopcloud 6 has a new AI feature which helps you find samples that match rhythmically or harmonically with just a click of a button. So this saves a lot of time with sample searching. It introduces a creative approach to their library to quickly find samples that work well together so you can get right into working on a track. They've also introduced an audio filter section which helps you quickly narrow down your samples by entering a couple parameters. Imagine being able to find a tight snare with 100 milliseconds decay. All you have to do is just enter it into the parameters. By the way, my name is Stranger, and if you want to improve your music production and sound design, especially with dance music and drum and bass, then this channel is for you. And check the link below if you want more information about Loopcloud 6. And make sure you hit the like buttons and subscribe to my channel if you want to get updated on future videos. Also follow me on Instagram, on TikTok, where I'm providing additional exclusive content. Alright, without further ado, let's get right into it. So let's start by finding a source sample to build around. So I'm going to go into the genres. I'm going to filter for garage samples. I'm going to look for some keyboard samples. So Loopcloud then filters their library for those tags, and we want loops. So again, click on that filter. I'm going to go with this one. It has a nice little vibe here. However, I'm going to change the key down to G sharp. So it's a bit lower so that we get more of those sub-bass frequencies when we start writing the bass line. Okay, that sounded good. So this is the fun part. Notice on the sample that we chose here to the right, there's this match column with this kind of yin and yang icon. If you click on it, there's three options. You can find harmonic matches, rhythmic matches, or similar sounds. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look for harmonic matches that work melodically with our source sample. So the AI engine is going to go through the entire library at Loopcloud and look for samples that will work harmonically. That little guitar pluck is a nice little addition. Let's keep looking for vocals or other samples.
Make it move, babe. Make it move, babe.
I'm liking that vocal. Now with samples, you can add additional effects within Loopcloud, which is a nice feature. So on the toolbar here, click on FX Edit, and then we can add perhaps a reverb to the vocal.
Make it move, babe. Make it move, babe. Make it move, babe.
And we can also add a chain of effects. So we could add a delay to it. And you can change the order, so you can drag and drop.
Make it move, babe. Make it move, babe. Make it move, babe. Make it move, babe.
Okay, that sounded good so far. I'm just going to mute the vocal for now and look for additional samples. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter the harmonic matches for a lead sample. So we can click under the instruments and click on the lead, and then this nicely filters all the samples for leads. Notice how everything works harmonically. That's the nice thing about this feature. It helps you really find samples that work well together quite quickly. Okay, I'm I'm liking this lead sample, so I'm going to go with it. Now I'm going to add some additional effects to it, just like with the vocal. So let's add some reverb. Sounding much better. Remember, you can mix the samples here. You can adjust the levels of each track. All right, so far so good. So now let's look for some kick and snare samples to build a beat on top of this. So I'm going to start a new search bar, and then we're going to filter the instruments for a kick. Now notice on the right panel we have an audio filter section. So this is another new feature of Loopcloud that helps you quickly look for samples that match your requirements. So we want a nice and tight kick for UK Garage vibe. So within the length parameter, we can shorten the length to, let's say, 600 milliseconds. If you keep scrolling down, there's additional features. We could filter it for a quick attack, so nice and tight kick with a short decay, so around just under 110 milliseconds. So this will give us some really nice tight kicks. That's a nice kick. And then we can use the pattern feature to quickly drop a pattern. So under the pattern toolbar, I'm going to choose simple kick. Okay, and likewise, we're going to look for a snare sample. So start a new search, filter for snares. And again, we're going to be using the auto filter for a short and tight snare. So shorten the length and then shorten the attack and decay. Okay, so this should give us some nice tight snares. That sounds like a nice UK Garage snare. So again, using the pattern section, we can quickly drop a pattern in. All right, we got a nice simple kick and snare pattern. Now let's look for some hi-hat loops. So let's filter for hi-hats. And we want loops, so enter the loop filter. Now with the auto filter, let's filter it for the right BPM. So Garage, let's say 100 to 135 beats per minute. Let's limit it to that. So we can find relevant hi-hats. We can even just filter for Garage. That way it'll be easier to find a loop that works. Yeah, that has a nice UK Garage swing, so that's a nice little hi-hat loop. So now let's use the AI feature and find rhythmic matches to this hi-hat loop. So we can find other loops that can work complementary to our hi-hat sample. That sounds kind of nice. That one was good. There was another one that I liked here. Yeah, that's good. That's nice and tight. Now, I like the snare that we have, but I think we can find even better. So we're going to use that match icon and find similar sounds to the snare. And then the AI feature filters out snares that sound totally the same as the snare we had. So this is a good way to fine tune your sound selection and find something even closer to what you want. And that's sounding much closer to what I want now. So this is a great feature because you can identify a sound that you want and then fine tune it by finding sounds that's even better by using that function find similar sounds. So once you have all the samples selected, then on the bottom left hand corner, there's this buy icon And you just have to click buy to purchase all the individual samples. And then there's this gear icon, which allows you to indicate how you would like to export the samples. Now you can export it as one mixed file. So that's a file that combines all the layers together, or you can export it as separate files, which are either original dry samples or processed with the effects and everything that you added to it. So we're gonna process with separate files. Then hit export. Now it's going to download all the samples to your computer. And once you're ready, you can click on this export button and drag it right into Ableton. Now hold Command or Control as you drag, and that'll split each clip into its individual track in Ableton. And there you go. And now we can stretch the samples out so we have it nicely laid out in the arrangement. And we can check it out. All right, so now we have it in the arrangement view, so we can start arranging and composing the track. So now that we have the idea in the arrangement, I'm going to add a bass sound. So I have a Serum bass sound that I created a while ago. It's a dubstep bass. I'm going to quickly write a bass line that goes with the vibe of our track. So we're in a key of G sharp. So I'm just going to play a bass line over the beat. And capture the MIDI. Of course, just quantize the notes. So here's our bass line. Now I'm just going to add an edit here at the end of the bass phrase and introduce a different bass as well as an amen sample as a call and response. So let's play it together. All right, that's an awesome little call and response. Now, just out of curiosity, I'm wondering if I can find some bass tracks to go with the composition we made within Loopcloud. So I'm going to search for some UK garage bass lines. So let's filter for bass, and I'm going to then also filter it for garage or even bass house. Just filter for loops so it's easier to find loops. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, so now that we have that bass loop, let's look for a harmonic match that can work as a call and response. Make sure we filter it for bass. This one might work, has a nice Reese vibe. So now that you have all the samples ready, just click and drag it into Ableton. So I'm going to make a sequence here where this bass runs and then we have this bass as a response. So now that we have the clips imported into Ableton, let's arrange it into a call and response sequence. I'm going to run this bass just for 2 bars, then cut this bass here. All right, so that's a cool call and response. All right, so I made a little arrangement. I added an additional vocal sample from Loopcloud to bring in during the drop. All right, so, and we have the main bass drop here. And then switching up to the bass sounds that we found in Loopcloud. All right, let's listen to it from the top. Alright, so we have a nice little UK garage vibe, which breaks down and drops into a heavy bass, little rhythm, nice little vibe here. I'm liking how it sounds. And as you can see, it's really easy to put sounds together with Loopcloud 6 AI feature, which can help you find samples really quickly that work well together. And you can then move into the arrangement stage and start messing around with the samples and then building it into a track. So Loopcloud's new AI feature, as well as the new audio filters section, is super handy if you want to get right into composing a track. I enjoyed using these features to find samples really quickly that match harmonically and rhythmically. And being able to mix and layer all the samples right in Loopcloud is super handy when you want to see if those samples will work well together. So if you think this might help in your creative process, then check the link below for more information about Loopcloud 6. Alright, that's pretty much it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, keep practicing, and I'll see you at the next video. If you want to support me, you can grab a number of my products, including some free sound packs down in the links below.